there's multiple ways you can have assets. I think that would be the thing I want her to know is to look at assets in as many ways as possible. So financially, how do you have assets that gain you the financial freedom to have the life that you want? But then also look at your relationships and your friends as assets as well.
Daddy, can I play the music now? But this we go.
You know that I got love for my kinfolk, my blood.
This is me and Daddy here, and Jenny also. And we're here to teach you something. Founded by So Your Grind. And goes a little something like this. Take it over, Daddy.
Welcome to Family Abide, So Your Grind. This is a podcast series highlighting lessons learned by the hard knocks and by grace. My name is Robert E. Meska Jr. and my co-host is Divine Lee, aka D. Lee. Our podcast intersects between the culture, faith, family, and finance. Episode 6, Part 2, Hope or Naivety. We finish our discussion with Harris, Hope, and Humor on how to find value in your journey regardless of your assignment, and the importance to invest in assets financially as well as relationally in order to find your freedom.
And we just gonna flow with it however it goes and be obedient every time we have to.
Like we're still afloat, and that's the best thing is that we don't feel like, it's definitely different. We're not going on vacation, we're not doing a lot of the things that we want to do right now, but we still have our house, we still have each other. And so like the basis of what we need is still there in the meantime. But I think even just not being there quieted my mind enough for me to hear things and for me to read and for me to be able to have time to go to therapy consistently, to really just kind of see myself differently and to ask myself, like, what do I really want? And what does God want for me? And I think like the longer I stayed there, the more I was missing it because I was constantly just going and busy. Like, now if I wake up in the middle of the night, which sometimes it really is God being like, I got something to tell you because earlier today you was a little too busy to hear me, but now I'm going to tell you at 4:00 in the morning. Like I can actually like appreciate it because I'm like, well, I'm home all day tomorrow. I don't have to worry about like my alarm is going to go off at 5:30 and I have to be somewhere for 12 hours.
Yeah. And so, Leon, have you been able to, I guess the world's a little different now. IT could always kind of be a little bit remote, but is it more since the pandemic, being able to work from home, or do you have to go in?
That was the bigger key for me too. One key for me was going to school remote and like kind of just doing nothing but just the school. And then it was like, well, everything's remote, so I can get a job that's remote. And I fooled around, got a job as hybrid, but it's mostly remote.
Yeah. Now, but even with that, so the program that he went to, he first of all got a scholarship too.
Oh yeah, got a scholarship.
Had they not been remote at the time, it wouldn't have been even something he would have been able to consider because they're based out of New York.
Yeah.
So
and at that time, they were like one of the first ones. They were like one of the first 3 ones to do it at that time. Like that was like their third cohort, I think.
Yeah.
That I was in. That was like their third one being remote, and it was like part time. So it was.
But even his hybrid, for him to have to go into the office, like he just went up there last week, and they blew our minds that they actually had him come in just to make sure he had everything he needed. They had him come in and roll around with a team of people to how high do you need your desk? Where do you need things to be at that you actually can reach it? Like they took inclusion
to a whole nother level.
To the level that everybody should be at. And so
and they did it like a surprise. It was like a surprise. Like it was like, I need you to come in on your basically like on your day off. My wife was like, why are you going in? You're not supposed to be like, you don't start. Why are you? I'm like, they're trying to make it easier for me. And I just thought I was gonna sign some papers, but no, I was rolling around with the building manager and two making sure they changed doorknobs, light bulbs. They were like, whatever you need, if you got a wish. I'm like, I almost was about to cry there. I'm like, I can't cry in front of y'all, but I'm like, like this, you don't get this kind of stuff. Like there's nobody except for my wife. I've never got that kind of care without asking for.
Wow.
Without prompting for her. You know what I'm saying? Like I deal with everything. I just adapt. Like I was gonna go in there and be like, oh, the table a little too high. Okay, I'll just type like this. Like I would have did whatever for a while.
Yeah.
But no, like it's the season I'm in right now. That's all I can say. It's just
that's definitely a blessing.
I love it.
So I know you were talking about mental health a lot, Tiara. So one of the things, social media social media can be almost whatever you want. If you want to look for something bad, you can kind of find it. If you want to look for something good, you can kind of find it. One of the terms I saw you guys use was family influencer. And what does that mean to you guys?
Honestly, for me, it was a term that's searchable if you're looking for families that want to have influence, because our page is together. It's not me by myself sharing what my part of this journey is. It's the both of us together. And then you get little snippets of Noelle in there, you know, because she's 4. So she's most of the time she's like, no, thank you. But that part was important because I also felt like we're sharing our lives, not it is still a lifestyle, but we're not sharing fashion, we're not sharing travel, we're not sharing
something different.
Yeah, we're sharing something that's different.
And it was different to everybody doing it. But
yeah, we're sharing something that we want to, because there are other disability like advocates and influencers, but they kind of speak more just about disability and accessibility and education in terms of like wheelchair users or whatever their disability is. But we're kind of sharing like our life as a family. Some of them are just couples who may not have kids yet, or they may not share anything about their kids. They're just sharing to kind of advocate for the community, but we're actually just sharing like the ins and outs of us being a family and what that looks like, how it's the same and how it's actually different at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys are reaching a lot of people. Sometimes you don't even know the impact you have reached and who you will reach based off of what you're doing. But I do think that's something that's unique, that's going to impact a lot of people, just because it's not just about Leon, it's not just about Tierra, because there's some things that are challenging as a caregiver that sometimes people don't realize. There's some things that are challenging as the person who has a disability that some people don't realize. And then there's that interaction, that mix of going through that. My wife calls it a productive struggle. We have this productive struggle and we're going through it, but it is for a purpose. And I think
that's us right now. Yeah.
So I think you guys are showing us you are living embodiments of what a productive struggle is. Not to say that it's easy, because a lot of times people, it ain't always easy.
That's why it's a struggle.
That's why it's a struggle.
And somebody said it's easy. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it gets easy. I don't know. Maybe it gets easier when you get older. I don't know.
What part?
I don't think it does. That's what I'm trying to figure out. When does it get easy? I don't think it gets easier, bro. I don't really think it does. I think you always have to keep learning. I think you always have to keep adjusting. I think you have to always keep
growing as
checking yourself. Yeah, like always checking yourself. Like checking yourself. Like, no, that ain't that serious. Let it go. Like, I think, I'm 90 years old checking myself. Imagine that.
Because then you're gonna be that grumpy old man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, check herself.
What do you want Harris Hope and Humor legacy to be? What would you like to leave for your daughter and the vision that you guys have been working on or cultivating?
I think I said it before. I really want my daughter to see that you can't quit, but you don't have to quit. No matter what life throws you, no matter what challenges you have, no matter how hard everything is, no matter how much you have to learn, that you can do it.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be who I am right now and I'm going to be, but you can do it. Like, no, don't let nothing stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I want her to learn. I think I want her to see us always be ourselves and how being ourselves will gain us success. Because part of our goals with our brand is, I want her to one day be a millionaire. And so we're growing our brand to be able to make more money as a family, to be able to invest in her future, that no matter what she decides to do, because that's another part of the legacy, is that she doesn't have to go to college if she doesn't want to. It's showing her that there's other ways to gain success. And I want her to always have her own peace and happiness and joy in the midst of finding her success. But I also want her to be a millionaire one day.
We want to do how other cultures do. Not like that's our goal per se, but we want to make sure that whatever she wants to do in life, that she can access.
Yeah.
And she don't gotta go nowhere. She don't gotta do nothing crazy. Nothing. No, you can say, "Mommy, Daddy, I need to do such and such."
She can change her mind.
Change your mind. Do whatever you want to do. Now, I mean, I'm not the whole living situation. I gotta get a bigger house. I gotta get a Rick Ross style house. If you want me living with me till you're 6. I need an estate. But I mean, that's the whole goal is to conquer world domination and get the money so that you can take care of your family.
Wow.
That's my goal.
Wow.
World domination.
I mean, yeah, that's the hacker. See, that's the hacker world. She don't know. Yeah, take
sounds
over
so
the world.
like Pinky in the Brain.
Yeah, just take over the world so you can take care of your family. That's all.
So you guys are kind of like just led right into my next question. You know, Leon, you said something about being able to pursue your passion, pursue your dream. What is one thing you would tell, and this is for you too, Tiara, what is one thing you would tell your younger self or your child to do in regards to money and confidence?
Spend it. Don't hold it so hard. Don't hold too tight on it. I hold my money tight. I hold it so tight that sometimes I think I have less than I actually have. I hold it that tight that I think I don't have nothing, and I'm like, oh, I'm good. So yeah, I think for myself as younger, I might have said that. I mean, I don't know if I like to say it now, but I think because I think younger, like yeah, but like now I'm in a saving mind. But yeah, I think I would just say don't hold it too tight. Kind of have balance. You need balance.
My thing would be to not be afraid of money.
Yeah.
To like learn about money.
Yeah.
Be open to learn about money so that way you're never afraid of money, and when you have more, you know what to do with it.
And I'm gonna jump on something that's slightly different. It's in regards to money, but it's also regards to benefits because I mean I work in healthcare, so I kind of know, but my wife hates it, like just dealing with insurances, dealing with benefits, dealing with all those different, I mean, because that's important too. Because one time my daughter got sick and we lived in Baltimore. I work for a competing health organization. I'm not gonna say it right now. And we had to go to Johns Hopkins. And but my insurance didn't cover Johns Hopkins. So she's 2 years old and is in the hospital. And I'm just thinking, I'm in the hospital thinking like, yo, we're gonna get hit with like a $20,000 bill. She's getting, I'm like, and my wife is like, why are you thinking about that right now while our daughter's in the hospital? But I don't, that's just my brain. I'm just like,
that would be me too. That would be me too. Like, how am I gonna get this reimbursed? Like, all right, we're gonna call tomorrow.
Exactly.
It's a very real fear because, when I was working at the hospital, I had what people consider to be great benefits. So that was also part of like that fear of leaving because we never had to worry about bills. Because I had my insurance and then he had his secondary. And so we kind of knew like as long as it was covered, somebody was going to pay the bill. And then now this transition is also something that's
that is unknown. That is the unknown.
What, the secondary insurance?
No, there's no secondary insurance more. For me, there's no more secondary insurance.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Now that he's more of the primary breadwinner, it's also trying to like really be okay on our own, I guess, 4 feet, so to speak, because all of the benefits I'm used to him having when I worked are also going to leave him, because that's also a very unfortunate part about the disabled community is that because we're legally married and he's going to have a job that allows him to make good money, they're like, well, then you don't need any of this stuff from us. And it's kind of like he's still disabled, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like some of those things he's actually going to lose. And so you do have to understand benefits and the difference between certain ones and, because I think I still do have apprehensions about like, oh man, what's going to happen moving forward because we don't have what we were so used to. And thank God you've been well, but it's kind of like that fear of like, what happens if you're not again? And will we have bills because we've never had to pay them?
She didn't learn the healthcare stuff when we was going through it. I know I got to sign up for my stuff now. So I know what to look for. I know. I actually took healthcare classes in college when I did college. I know some healthcare stuff.
Listen, they be
Remember, I was on the phone with them people when they was trying to give me the runaround.
My thing is they trying to completely wipe you away.
They lit a fire. The government lit a fire. They want to get rid of me. They don't want to help me. Then like
they almost don't even want you to have anything that considers you to be disabled. And I'm like, but he still is.
Like she's bothered by it. I mean, I'm bothered by it for other people that can't work. I have that are unable to get out of this. They have to live on the government. So yeah, I want to go eventually fight for them. But for me, no, this is firing me. Like, you cut me off when you found out I was married, even though I reported my marriage. So I got cut off of my benefits. So then it was like, okay. So now I was like, if I get any money, I got to report everything. So I was like in limbo. I'm like, well, how do you get ahead in life? You're always behind. I had to get a new car because my old car was about to fail. So we took a loan out, paid for it all right, but that was wrong. The government was like, oh, you got a new car, so you can't get benefits. So I was like, okay, now I'll just go to work.
Well, because also him being allowed to have an aide that comes in to take care of him goes away if he makes money.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Who's going to take care of him?
Like, he still needs help physically, regardless of the fact that he actually can maybe work a certain amount of hours. Because, you don't want to say too much, because, like those parts of it is the part that to me just doesn't make sense. And I almost feel like, I guess because you hear so many different stories, I feel like, yeah, it does light a fire, and I'm grateful for the fire, but you almost feel like either I have to be really poor or really rich, because I think if you fall in the middle, you are subjected to those fears and apprehensions, because I feel like we still need to be able to make a significant amount of money to live the life that we want to live, to leave money for her for the future, and then also be prepared for emergencies, because now it would seem like they're going to fall more on us than anything else. So it does make you feel like you can't fall in the middle. You have to either say, oh, I'm fine being poor, or I plan to just be wealthy.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's it. There's no middle ground.
There's no middle ground.
There's no middle ground now is trying to be rich. Go ahead,
my wife said something very similar to you guys. She was just like, when you don't have much to lose, you're willing to take huge risk. And when you have a lot, you can take huge risks. But when you just got a little bit of the pie, you just like, it really makes you hesitant, because it's like, well, do I want to potentially lose a little bit what I got, to get what, it's one of those things that, you always part of that productive struggle and stepping out on faith and just kind of figured out, where you're going to end up. That is life. So
I feel like that's how he was. That's how we are now. Because we was in our marriage, it was like, all right, it was like, yeah, like, do we want to move? Do we want to do this? Like, it was always like, eh. And then it was like, all right, I'm a little sick. And it was like, we about to sell the house with the other house. We're like, all right, you about to have this money. Do we want to move?
Yeah.
And then literally, like, the way we moved was the most impulsive move ever, kind of. We were just like, let's look at our house in Delaware.
We got frustrated being landlords, and I was like, I'm selling this house. And then we were like, oh, well, we actually gonna make money selling this house. We should move. I was like, I guess we should get a house. This kid can't live in a condo forever.
Literally got a house in 3 months. Looked at only 2. We only looked at 2 houses.
And then we got our house.
But we got pretty much like an accessible house. So that's, again.
That's. But then we moved in November, and then the pandemic hit in March. So it was almost like, well, thank God we did move when we did, because I couldn't imagine having a kid that small in a condo when everybody's home.
You can't go.
Yeah, just nowhere to go.
Well, I have the financial word of the day. We're getting close to the end. So basically, you guys will hear Divine talk about this and Journey as much as she can. The financial word of the day is asset, a useful or valuable thing. So I have like a set of flashcards, and she just kind of picks one, and she ends up picking asset. What did you guys know about asset growing up? And what would you want your daughter to know about assets now as she grows up?
I didn't know nothing about assets growing up. We lived paycheck to paycheck. We robbed Peter to pay Paul. All of the things you hear people typically say. You just we were like just making it. So there was almost like there wasn't anything to be considered an asset. I think, and it's funny because I'm sure like this word has way more ties to it than the financial part, because there's multiple ways you can have assets. I think that would be the thing I want her to know, is to look at assets in as many ways as possible. So financially, how do you have assets that gain you the financial freedom to have the life that you want, but then also look at your relationships and your friends as assets as well.
I was about to say that. Yeah, you guys looks like you had a lot of relational assets. You might not have had as many financial assets, but those relations almost are as valuable, because it says a useful or valuable thing. It doesn't say money.
Right.
So as far as the definition, but most times people say, "Oh, yeah, it's this house, it's whatever."
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
For me, then I might say maybe like relational, but I like to say technical assets.
In what way?
Like anything technical you bring, I just the knowledge I have, just like a knowledge of all the things technical.
What to take from that?
I don't know, because I don't want to force it on her. I want her to have a knowledge of it, so she's never like not dumb, but lost, because I know the world is changing and it's going to be all technology. But I don't want to force her. I don't want to force her. I'm not saying my stuff is hard, but whatever she want to do, just expose her everything. I just kind of want to expose her to everything.
What did asset mean to you growing up?
Money. Have it either money or a thing. So like a boat, a motorcycle. Like y'all were just talking. I was gonna say, well, I think I got my first asset. I have a second car. Like for me, like we got, say both cars is paid off. So
yeah, I didn't even see my first house as an asset, because when we sold it, I didn't even think I was gonna make money, because I felt like I wasn't even knowledgeable in making a good investment when I bought my first house.
No, you did.
I think because I grew up single parent home, but my mom's sister was also single, so it was the two of them and my grandmom raising 8 children in the house. And I don't even think we were even taught to look at the relational assets, because we had each other. So you always see it as like we're protecting each other, we have each other, family is important, family comes first. And I think now I'm at a time in my life of like, I still love my family, and they do mean a lot to me, but it is realizing that you can have assets out of that circle, those people that you feel obligated to. Like, I think I have a great appreciation for my friends that have become family, because I'm open to letting them become family and not seeing them as just friends or just people that I used to work with, because I can get very like, I can get weird about that. Like, don't pretend to be my mom. Don't pretend to be my cousin. I got a mom. I got cousins. like I can get really weird about how I want to define you and what label I want to give you. So I don't use it lightly, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so like, I don't even think I've ever was taught to look at those relationships as assets. But then also our marriage is an asset that I hope that she could see and learn from. I hope that we can be married for a really long time, and not just married to be married, but married because we're choosing to be with each other every day. She goes into a relationship where she gets to see the beauty of it every day, and it's a decision that she gets to make every day, and not an obligation.
Yeah, I was gonna say your family was an asset to me, because I lost my family when I met you, basically. So that was like one of them, like a big thing was like, oh, here's a family for me.
Well, it was one of the sacrifices he had to make for our relationship to work at that time, was that they weren't supportive. And so he basically kind of like married into my family, and then my family all became like an asset to you. Like, my mom is mom to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I get scolded. I get in trouble just like everybody else.
But you call her mom.
I know. So I have to take it. I didn't take it as a kid, but I have to take it now.
Leah, did you learn much about like financial literacy growing up or anything?
My mom tried a little bit, but she was struggling. So she couldn't really do it. Like, I watched her do bills. Like, I knew how the bills were done. I knew how to pay the bills, but I didn't know how to save. I didn't know how to save. I knew how to rob Peter to pay Paul. But that was the financial literacy I got. How to just stay alive.
Wow. All right. So this is something that I'll be working on. Haven't got the first one out, but your verse, your lesson. So any verse that you guys got from the culture or the Bible that you guys just want to hit, and how and what it means to you. So it could be Jay-Z, it could be whoever, a movie.
Oh man. C'est la vie is mine. Such is life.
And what does that mean to you?
For a long time, and it's really fading away in my life, but it keeps me grounded because it just lets you know that life is unpredictable. Life changes. Life can come at you. You never know what's going to happen. For a long time, for me, that felt negative, but now it's more positive. Like this interaction, you met us. Like, you know what I'm saying? You found us. So a lot of my interactions now are positive, and that's such as life. Like it doesn't even surprise me no more when people come to us. So just that's always been that's funny how that's always been a short little saying, and it's always been with me. And it used to be negative, and now it's a positive.
Wow.
Mine's is a good answer, but it's not as fun as I want it to be. And I actually can't tell you who I got it from, but mine would be I can do hard things or we can do hard things. And that is something that I use to help me get through the hardest part of my depression. And I use it almost every day now to get through parenting because that's really hard. And then I also use it for my daughter who is trying to figure out who she is. And, you know, you're trying to figure out how to handle big emotions. You're trying to figure out how to handle following the rules and watching other people not follow the rules. And, you know, that's a struggle for her. And so, you know, I teach her that we can do hard things, you know, and I think it applies to everything. It applies to marriage. It applies to his disability. It applies to being Black in America. It applies to changing and growing and figuring out, like, you know, who we are now in our different roles. Now that we kind of switch roles, you know, it's doing all of these hard things at one time, but it's because we can do hard things. And, you know, that works for me. I wish I remember where I heard say it first, but.
And you just hit on one other thing that I thought was really good. It's just in a marriage, the ability to switch roles, you know, as for a while you were being the one to, you know, take on the financial burden, and now that's kind of switched. How was that mindset? Because it's always so hard, I think, in relationships, because people sometimes attribute their value to their role in the relationship. So my value is as a provider, my value is a protector, my value is as whatever. How has that happened, both for you, Leon, and both for you, Sierra? How has that changed, and how has that worked with both of y'all?
Are you in the ministry? Because I feel like I have to give you an offer because you didn't made me see a couple different things. So like, yeah, for me, when I was a stay-at-home dad, not like, I mean, I had issues feeling worthless. That's my own issues. But being a stay-at-home dad, disabled, it kind of felt like I wasn't offering much. Like I took care of the kid. It was like, I'm just sitting home playing video games with the kid. Like
that's a huge thing.
I know, but it didn't feel hard. Like taking care of her didn't feel hard to me. So like it was almost similar to like being a stay-at-home husband for a while, like I was. Yeah. So I felt useless like that. Just be honest, I felt useless. So now I feel like I have confidence. I'm empowered. Like whatever not like you know, I feel empowered. I feel empowered. So yeah, I wonder how she feels. I mean, she shouldn't feel that way in my mind. She shouldn't feel less empowered because she still does so much, like way more than I did. Like as a house manager, she's way the whole house changed. In 3 months,
the title of the house manager.
In 3 months, our whole house is different. I don't even recognize it. So it's like you're where you belong.
I think for me, when I was working, I think the hard part was knowing that I wasn't happy with what I was doing, but it would be the moments of him getting a new wheelchair and knowing that it was covered. It was him being able to go to the hospital system I worked for and knowing that we were, you know, for the most part in good hands. So it was those things that made me feel like I was doing something that was worth my while to do it. It never bothered me that he didn't work. I actually felt more comfortable that he was safe at home. Because I know what it's like to have to go into, knowing that he can't regulate his temperature, going into offices and stuff like that, and not knowing how his body was going to react to it. I felt better that he was home and he was safe. And then in the beginning, it was fun because my days off, we got to do so many things together because I only work 3 days a week. You know, now it's a little bit different, but now switching roles, it's a little harder I almost feel like it was always a dream to stay home. But now that I'm actually a parent, I don't want to be a stay-at-home parent. I'm learning to accept the fact that I parent better when my kid goes to school. And so that almost felt weird to say, like, I am home and I don't even really want my kid to be home with me all day. I had a lot of
like my wife. You sound like my wife. You ain't alone. I ain't gonna be honest.
I don't get the problem. She always said it. I'm like, that's a stay-at-home mom. Like you're not a homeschooling mom.
Well, I feel
that's a homeschooling mom. You try not to be.
Well, because at that age she wasn't in. She could have. You were a stay-at-home dad.
She didn't want to do that.
Like I thought when she went to kindergarten, that would make sense for me to be home and her to be in school because at kindergarten is when that transition typically happens. I felt bad that like I thought I would be okay with her being home. So it almost feels more like I'm a stay-at-home wife versus a stay-at-home mom, because my kids in school all day as if I leave the house. I drop her off and I come back home and then I'm here until it's time to pick her up. So that part of it, I had to stop feeling guilty about. But it also, it still feels a little weird, because I feel like I'm meant to do more than be home. As much as I want to just be home, I don't think I'm supposed to just be home. I think I have way too many ideas, and it could really just be the ADHD, but I feel way too creative to just be home. But being home and not being at my job allows me time to be creative. It allows me the opportunity to flesh out ideas. And Leon allows me the opportunity to make mistakes and to try things and see if I like it, if I don't like it, to change my mind about things. And then I also feel like it kind of takes away some of the frustrations of what he can't do because of his disability. So that's why I became the house manager, because now I can kind of manage how things get done, and he can kind of step in when I need him to, versus me being like, what is going on? Why does this look this way? Why does this look that way? Why is the house a mess? You don't have a system for any of these things. Yeah. Now it allows me to create systems that work well for me and hopefully for him as well. And then it kind of keeps us both mentally, or
no
at least
disrespect.
Me,
I just want
in a good place.
I just want to work. I don't want. Like, I'd rather pay somebody to come and do chores. That's because I just, like, for me, like, I think my ADHD now. I have ADHD a little bit too. So like, if I'm not in my creative zone of genius, I don't know what to do. So if I'm not in front of a computer, I'm like, what? Because I didn't, like, some things I just didn't learn. Some things I just didn't do well or learn.
I mean, they still gotta happen.
I know, that's why you pay someone.
It should still have to be watched. Laundry still has to get done.
I think you guys are a great couple. Tara, you said something that was very circular in the beginning. You said, kind of like, that's why we're still here, even though, challenges have happened, like your work is not done yet. So even though, you're at home, your work is not done yet. So you still get an opportunity to create, you still get an opportunity to do more. And you're doing a good job being the neck right now. I was telling somebody, you're doing the neck. You showing the house where to go to the left, where to go to the right. And, Leon's, is doing a great job being the head. So I want to thank you guys so much for providing me opportunity to reach out to you, out of nowhere, just to kind of give you a shout and have this conversation.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
This was dope. I loved it when you emailed us. I was like, oh, this is decent.
Yeah.
So yeah,
fun to be found.
Yeah.
I'm just trying some new stuff. So
bye fans. Thanks for time. On Family by Daddy, Jody, and Devani, and Mommy,
okay.
And Mommy.
Who's got my back?
I got Chopper.
Who's got my back?
Who got that swag?
Who got that swag?
I got that swag. I want it up.
Okay, bye-bye.
You gotta keep searching. Living life, no regrets. Ain't no shoulda, woulda, coulda, had an altar. Still been a minute since I've been up at the altar.
Thank you for listening to Family Abide. Make sure to subscribe in order to catch future episodes. Family Abide is available on all your favorite podcast outlets. Remember, life is not just about family. It's not just about wealth. It's about building people and communities that endure without yielding. Always choose your abundance beyond insecurities, debts, and entanglements. The next generation is depending on us. Remember your purpose. Sow your grind and watch it grow. Thank you for joining us on Family Abide.
Sow your grind.
Everybody need love. I'm tired of my problems, I'm tired of the drama, I'm tired of the pressure from my mama and my papa. I'm tired of the pain, I'm tired of the rain, I'm tired of the hurting, I'm tired of the working, I'm tired of the struggling, I'm tired of the hustling. I'm so sick and tired of having nothing.
Jam, you got something to say?
But after that, I'll turn the link on the link.
Yeah, I think it's good developing daddy-daughter relationships.